Welcome, welcome. Do put in the chat where you're popping in from. It's always lovely to see where in the world people are. Welcome, people. How are you doing? So where are you all popping in from? Anyone there? Can you hear me? Yeah, sounds on. I know Laura Rose is in Paris.
Je viens de Paris.
Hey. Oh. She just knows I love that sexy Parisian accent. Whew, does something to me. Margaret. Hello. So those people without their video on, are you actually there, or are you bots? Do talk to us. Do tell us in the chat where you're popping in from.
Oh, chat.
Margaret, you can talk. That's fine.
Oh, sorry, I'm Ottawa, Canada. Sorry, I'll unmute. Sorry.
That's all right. About Brian and Marta and Barbara, where are you popping in from? Or are you at work and you can't say anything and you can't talk? Which is fair enough. That happens sometimes. I always give these things 2 or 3 minutes. You know, it's like people go, oh, I'm planning to do that, and then the time flies along, doesn't it? Faster than you realise. Like I saw a post earlier, somebody was saying, what? It's nearly the end of June. Where did the year go? Hello, Barbara.
Hello.
Where in the world are you?
Ontario, Canada.
Welcome. Yeah, Brian and Marta aren't talking to us. They're just going to watch. That's fine. Watching's good. So I normally give it 2 or 3 minutes, let people arrive. Some people like to be early, some people don't. There was somebody who I think was on about an hour ago. I think they got their times muddled up, which is fair enough. It gets confusing, isn't it, if all around the world. Sometimes I wonder why we don't just have the same time across the whole world. It'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? It just means that some people will be going to work at 2 a.m. But so what? You'd get used to it.
I don't know about that. I need the sunshine.
Well, you'd still go to work in the sunshine, but the clocks would all be exactly the same. So your morning would start at 2 a.m. your time, but it would still be the equivalent of your 9 a.m. So anyway, clocks, who needs them? Welcome, people. So give it another minute or so. Some amazing names. Draka. Welcome, Draka, Julia, Marta, Brian. Do let us know where you're popping in from. Type it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Are they, them? I always say soul. There's no confusion. Jean, welcome. Hey, you do use your fingers or your voice to tell us where you're coming in from. Put it in the chat. It's always just nice to see where in the world people are popping in from. We've got some Canadians, we've got some Parisians. I'm in the UK, I'm in Devon, which is sort of about 250 miles southwest of London. So we've got Hungary, Denver, Colorado. Hey, welcome. Good to see you, or to at least see some of you. When I record this, only the person speaking is actually recorded. So if you do want to be on camera and your hair's not the most perfect, that's fine. It's always nice to see faces rather than just blank names. But each to their own. I love your black I can't say it, background, Lauren, all the roses. If you like roses, follow Lauren Rose on Facebook, because she's always posting amazing, beautiful rose images. I love them. I can almost, sometimes I can almost smell them through Facebook. It's like, ooh, I wonder what that one smells like. Cool. Oh, got some more coming in, Luna. Well, we'll give it 1 more minute then. Some late arrivals. Welcome, Luna. Welcome, everyone. Do type in the comments where you're from, and then I will start now. Welcome, welcome. Good to see people on camera. So if you've been to one of these before, you know it's all about shamanism. I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I use a lot of different tools. You can see all those probably behind me. I use the drum, I use rattles, I use crystals like many other people. But I also have discovered more recently cards or runes. And what I wanted to do was just sort of explain how in my shamanic practice I use those. And I've got a little slideshow that I always love to do, so you don't have to stare at me all the time. So let me just share that. I don't know if you guys have updated your Zoom. They've moved all the buttons around. Everything that used to be on the left is now on the right, and it's all a bit, I'm like, oh, where's my buttons gone? It's like, I shouldn't have updated. Hopefully it still works fine. Welcome, Sherry, that's just joined us. There you go. Thumbs up if you can see a picture of me holding a book and it says Runes, Tarots, Oracle, and Wisdom cards. Can you see that? Perfect. Thank you, Margaret. Yeah, so today I just wanted to share about runes, tarot, oracle, and wisdom cards, and I'm sure there's many other different names that these cards get called. I've heard of knowledge cards, and there's, yeah, it's like most things, there's many different names, but I wanted to do sort of explain how in my shamanic practice how I use them. Where'd that line come from? And if you've attended some of these, you'll know that we've covered many different topics over the months, and all of those are available on my website at englishmystic.co.uk or englishmystic.com, and they're all on the blog. So if you want to watch them, all the recordings are there, all of the slideshows are all there. And so they've got lines appearing everywhere. What's that doing that? So today it's about runes, tarot, oracle, wisdom cards in shamanism, and then the future dates, they're free. So if anyone's got anything they want to learn that's not on that list already, please do message me, send me an email, or however you want to contact with me. I'm on Facebook a lot, and Instagram and LinkedIn, and I'd love to share what you want to hear about. If not, then I'll just sort of decide a few days before from the plethora of things I've learned over the years. So yeah, those are all those beautiful ones. So today, and I appreciate your time. The most important thing that we all have is attention and our time. So I really appreciate you being here. So I know we've all got busy lives, so I'll make sure I don't keep you for a maximum of the hour. And so if you all just get yourselves present to sort of be here, if you've got any phones that might go off, please make sure they're not going to disturb you, and just give us your full attention. If you're working or driving, I understand. It's good to have you here. So what are these tools? Okay, why do we have tools in shamanism? In the shamanic practice, you can practice without any tools. However, the tools are useful. They add to the way that the power comes in. They just assist you. So what I want to talk about really is the cards I use. And maybe runes, you can't really call them cards, but that they look like cards, so I've included them. And then you've got tarot cards, oracle cards, wisdom cards, and I've heard wisdom cards called knowledge cards. And I just wanted to sort of demystify a bit my understanding of them. And I'm not hugely into using cards, but I've started using them in the last couple of years. And you'll find that if you do start using them, they do become a little bit addictive. You start seeing, I don't know, I'm a bit addicted to books. If I look at the cover, it looks great, I'll buy it. Though you shouldn't always judge a book by its cover. So why do I use them? I use them because in shamanism we have power animals and guides, spirit guides, and sometimes when they give you an answer to a question, it's not as simple to understand. Sometimes it's a bit cryptic, sometimes it's a bit like putting a puzzle together. And what I find is, if you use runes, tarot, oracle, or wisdom cards, and sit with that card in your hand and connect to your spirit guides or your power animals, and say to them, I've got a pack of cards here that's got some wisdom or some information. Please use that to give me a bit of guidance. And what I do is, often you'll sit with a tough decision that you've got to make in your life, and sometimes you get confused between what your body is saying, what your mind is saying, what your soul is saying, what everyone around you is saying. And sometimes it can get hard to make those tougher decisions confidently. So that's when I'll pull out I'll look at all of my runes, oracle, wisdom cards, or rest of it, and say, okay, which ones of you are going to be able to assist me with this question or this issue that I've got? And that's what I do. I'll then go to my list of them. They're all sitting behind me, and I'll just say, okay, which one wants to help me? And it varies. I don't have a particular favorite that I always go to, but I always find that if I sit calmly, get myself, I breathe, get my mind clear, and really trust that my guides can talk through these tools, then they always do. So I wanted to explain my understanding of each of these. So runes are quite old, and the symbols that we have are quite sort of archaic. Normally they're sort of Germanic or Nordic type tribes, but of course there'll be runes throughout the whole world, so it's not true that it's just those areas. But each rune has a sort of a specific meaning, and you can use it as a divination guide for insight and guidance. And typically they're carved into stone or wood, and they can vary in size. So I've seen them as sort of like little round ones that are no bigger than sort of like a 20p piece or 50p piece, or maybe a couple of cents if you're in America. And I find those are really powerful, and when you use them, I've used the Nordic ones, you can go on a shamanic journey, and I normally, with those, I'll go into a cave and I'll draw the rune on the cave wall in my mind, and actually you would walk into the rune, and then you get a vision or you get some information back to you. But what I've found recently, having worked for dragons since 2017, the dragons came in and they said, we've got runes. So 27 of them came in, and I channeled 27 runes of the dragons. And the way that one works is, you can see some of the cards there, and I can share the whole set later if you're interested. But those I got carved into wood. I also got them carved into aluminium using a laser printer, which is quite powerful. And what I find with those is, the best way is to sit with your question, go on a shamanic journey to the physical dragon of the runes. And I've got all of those journeys. I've just finished a couple of weeks ago a weekly journey, so 27 weeks of journeying to each of the dragons of each of the runes. And the people have found that holding the card, the rune, looking at some of the artwork, and actually going on a journey to that dragon, that's how they were finding the information. So that's a different way of looking at runes, and very, very powerful. A couple of people that went on the 27-week journey with me had some profound information, and very powerful. So if you want to look at those, you can look at runesofdragons.com, and I'll share all these links in a follow-up email. So that's runes, very, very powerful. And I know a lot of people get very protective of the runes, and I know a lot of people don't like the runes being printed on T-shirts and things like that. So we do need to be careful what we're doing with them and how we use runes. They are very powerful and very ancient. And then you've got the typical tarot cards. And I'd say the tarot cards are the ones that I probably actually do use the least in my shamanic practice. But they are there and I do use them. And the set I use the most are the Thoth tarot cards. And basically, the tarot decks that I've seen always have 78 cards, so there's a lot of cards in there. And it's the Major Arcana, which is 22 cards that represent life events. And then there's the minor ones, which is 56 cards presenting day-to-day events. And each card is an image, a symbolism, and again it offers deep insights and guidance. And what often you'll find if you buy a set of the tarot cards is there'll be a small amount of information on each of the cards, but there'll also then be an accompanying booklet which will have 2 or 3 pages of deeper information. And because of modern technology nowadays, I find that a lot of people, that those cards or that deck I've got here, they're just like a playing card set. And there's then a website, and you go to the website and you put in, this is the card I pulled, and then there'll be like a whole page of information. So you might find you're more called to tarot cards. And then you've got oracle cards. And the oracle cards are different to tarot in the fact that oracle cards, there isn't a set number. I've seen sets, I've got one set behind me that's only got 5 cards in it. And I've got other sets that have got probably 50, maybe 60 cards. So it varies. It's a more modern form of divination and guidance. And you'll also find that the structure is definitely more modern, and a lot of people are using AI to create the images. Obviously, there are a lot of oracle cards out there where an artist has drawn them, and the set I use the most are the Isis goddess ones, which I find really beautiful, and the artwork on them is divine. Sometimes I'll just look at them just for the artwork and not necessarily have a question. But yeah, the oracle cards, more flexibility. Tarot cards is like a fixed number. Oracle cards, it's a much wider. And personally, I think probably I probably go more towards the oracle cards when I'm looking at things. So each deck is unique, and it normally has a theme. For example, in this one, it's the goddess Isis. I've got other ones that are goddesses. You can probably get god ones. There's thousands of different decks out there. So if you're called to use a set, then just go on to one of the stores and see which one calls you. Yeah, and normally it contains sort of positive messages, affirmation, or prompts for reflection. And that's where I will sit with the oracle cards, and I might say, okay, I've got a client that's come in and they've got this issue. We've done some healing, but there's things aren't working. Why is the healing not working? And I'll sit with the oracle deck and I'll pull out a card. I don't necessarily share these with people. I'm not one of those people that sort of says, "Oh, come and have an oracle card or a tarot card reading." I'll use it as a tool for myself to help find out what's going on, because sometimes I'll be sitting with my guides and saying, "Okay, what do we need to do? How do I help this person?" And what comes through is not very clear. Sometimes it's very clear, and I'll do whatever healing I need to do. But sometimes it's less clear, and that's when I'll sit with it and I'll pull a card, and there'll be a sentence in there that says something. I'm like, okay, and then the fog clears, and it makes it much more easy for me to understand what the message is that's coming through. That's how I use them. Some people will use them like mainly the tarot cards, and they do a spread. They might pick 3 cards, or sometimes I've seen people picking 9 cards. I've even seen people picking like 15, 20 cards, and then they can do like a full life reading of you, and they look at like your business and your relationships and your health and all the rest of it. That's not what I use them for, but I know many people do, and that's very powerful. But it's not something I do. When people say to me, will you pull some cards for me?" I'm like, no, that's not really what I do. What we believe in shamanism is that you are a sovereign being, and really, it's if you're interested in having that, pull them yourself, and sit with them yourself, and find the information. Don't give away your power to other people. But if you're called to do that with people, then that's fine. It's just saying it's not what I do personally in my shamanic practice. So those are the oracle cards. And then you've got wisdom cards. I've also seen those called knowledge cards, and I'm sure there's many other different ones. And this category is very broad. So this is really a sort of a typical a deck that imparts knowledge, advice, or inspiration. And in many ways, they're like oracle cards, but they're more philosophical, bit more spiritual guidance type things. So again, I work with dragons all the time. They come in and assist me with healing. I also work with many other power animals, but the dragons are sort of at the forefront at the moment, probably because we're in the year of the dragon. And recently, I was actually in Paris, and Lauren Rose was there as well, and we went on a journey, a physical journey and a spiritual journey, and I collected 42 dragon eggs, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure why I've got those. And when I got home, I sat down with my guides and with my dragons, and I said, why have I got these? And they said, we want you to create some cards. I was like, okay, fair enough. And I ended up creating a booklet and some cards, and I've now physically got the cards in my hand. It's beautiful. It's quite a process to get them created, but what they're there really for is they're wisdom cards rather than oracle or tarot, and they're there really more for a little bit of fun, a little bit of spiritual guidance. And I say I've created those, and you can go to dragoneggwisdom.com, and you can see those. But also, while I was doing that, some more dragons came in, and I started connecting, and I have connected with these dragons for many years. These are the cloud dragons, and I don't know if you ever looked at the clouds and gone, "Ooh, look, that's a nice shape." And sometimes you see things in there. I'll often see dragons. So I've created the dragon egg wisdom is 42 cards, and the cloud dragon is 72 cards, and I'm in the process of creating those. And this is where modern technology comes in, and this is where the wisdom cards are much more modern, and that's where I've used artificial intelligence to create the images. So the dragons came in and said, this is what we look like. If you can get AI to create a nice image of us, that'd be great. And then they downloaded basically a list of their skills, an idea of their wisdom, and some sort of spiritual insight or guidance. And what I'm going to be using these for is when I'm talking to people that have recently connected with their dragon, then I'll be using that to sort of assist them in understanding why the dragons come into their life. And I had a friend call me this morning, and he's got a big white dragon that's recently just come in. He's into Reiki healing, and it's the first time he's met one. And I'm finding more and more people are sort of popping and finding they've got power animals coming in. So yes, I've created these cards for that, and they do look beautiful. Some people aren't really into AI art, but they look good. Not being an artist, and as I say, once you've opened that portal to the oracle cards and the tarot and all this, is they start calling you, and you'll start seeing them out there. And here's a selection of some of the ones I've got. I run the Dragon Thunder Summit last year, and there's one coming up this year in July. So a lot of the people that I've spoken with have got their own cards. So you've got a Rhea and Ra there with divining with the dragons, and as you can see, there's quite a few dragon ones there. And I think the Diana Cooper ones are probably the oracle card set that is probably the one that most people have heard of or seen of. Obviously, she's big in that. You got the Spirit of Nature one, which is from Necton's Glen, which is not far from me. You can see there you got Shamanism Oracle, more dragon ones from the Guardians of Truth. Gayatri Singh, who's in India. I was actually speaking with her a couple of days ago doing a recording, and she was explaining how those cards came to her. So a lot of dragons came in, asked her to create these cards, oracle cards, and what she did is she actually drew them, and she says she was never an artist. So often you'll find that the people are creating these decks, these cards, are called by some sort of external power that's out there in the universe. The Celtic Shaman pack I find is beautiful as well. Obviously Celtic ones, it's basically everyone that was in the Great Britain area, sort of, really. And then you've got the Wisdom Keeper ones, that those are inspired by Gene Keys, if you know Gene Keys. And then you've obviously got one with the goddesses, and then the one on the top left is Awaken with Dragons. That's from Fiona, another lady that's on the Dragon Thunder Summit. But yeah, I highly recommend, if you're finding that you're not sure of a decision that you need to make, that you sit with a set of cards that you're called to use, and ask them to use the cards to connect with you. And that's the way I use them. As I say, that's the Celtic Shaman pack. So I work with the cards myself, I pull them, and as I say, other people will often pull the cards and interpret them for people. I'm less into doing that. And as I say, I have a question in my mind, I sit with the cards, I communicate with my spirit guides, and I say, please use the cards to give me some more information, help me easily understand what you're telling me. And what I always do is, once I've got that insight, once I've got that wisdom, is I check in with myself and say, am I really sure that came from a source that I trust? Because when you're connecting to spirit, sometimes a not so friendly spirit might pop in and give you an answer that's not really the truth. So really, I always ask. I don't necessarily trust it fully. I check in with myself, I check in with my spirit team to ensure the guidance was of the highest good, and that it wasn't someone trying to mislead me. So what I'll often do sometimes is ask the same question again, and sometimes even 3 times, and sometimes from a different pack, just to get a feeling that really I'm receiving the wisdom that I should be receiving. So these are powerful tools, but they can also be used just for fun. You don't have to be extremely spiritual. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing. I'll talk about Dragon Thunder in a minute. So I wanted to share with you my dragon egg ones. You see those all right? So that's the beautiful dragon on the front, and then each of the cards is an example of the card. So you have an image, and then there's some short text, and that short text just may mean something to you, and then there's a booklet that then describes that in much more detail. And that they're all sort of beautiful cards, and there's some more colourful ones. They're all different. I mean, some of the designs that came through are quite amazing, and say the dragons explained to me how they wanted it to be described. So yeah, there's lots of beautiful ones. As I say, if you go to the website, you can see all of those. And what I also wanted to share with you is the runes. So in case you've not seen runes, when they came through, I was like, oh, how am I going to create these? And a friend of mine created a whole bunch of them on aluminium foil, and the designs are very, very simple as a rune. It's not particularly complicated, There's some more other ones. Yeah, just so that one's water, which is fairly obvious. This one's is chakra. Yep. And what the dragons did was literally say to me, this is the information that it will impart, this is what you need to tell people, but the most important thing is that the person needs to come on a journey to meet us, the dragon. And I always say that to people is you are a sovereign being, and it's better for you to connect to the source energy, because someone interpreting for you is going to put some of themselves into it, maybe some of their ego into it. They may slightly misinform you. So I always say, if that's what you're called to do, fine. I'm not dissing those people, because they're important, and some of us aren't always able to connect strongly to the spirit. But if you feel like you can connect strongly to spirit, use the tools, but trust yourself enough to connect fully. I'll just show you the wooden rune set. So what I found was that the wooden set isn't the greatest if it's raining and drizzling, which it does a lot in the UK. So that's why I had the aluminium set created. But the wooden set is beautiful for indoors. It's very, very tactile, and I just love using them. As I say, I'll just sit with them and say, I've got this question, please use these runes to give me an answer. And I'll pull this one and be like, oh, ice. So why have I got ice? Maybe it means that the person needs to go and have an ice bath. Maybe their system needs a reset. Maybe they need to go and do some Wim Hofing or something. Yeah, and so it'll come through. I'll check in with that message and say, what are you telling me? What does it mean? What does it mean for my client? And I'll then share that with them and say, okay, I've checked in, and I think that your system could do a bit of reset. Maybe you should go and try some ice bath or something, or whatever it is, and it's up to them to choose whether they actually do that or not. I'm just checking the comments. What does it say? You were in Paris or Rome? When I collected the eggs, it was in Rome. We walked through St. Peter's Square up towards the Vatican. The Pope was around, but it wasn't actually, we didn't actually see him. So yeah. What else have people asked me? I use cards quite a lot. It's very helpful for me. I have 2 sets of runes, but cannot seem to connect with them. Yeah, I mean, I find that some people will connect with runes, some oracle, some tarot, some wisdom. Some people, they don't like to use any of them at all. So I know when I first started using them, I didn't feel like it was right. I felt like I was becoming sort of a mystic meg or something. And what you have to realize is that that's just your mind playing tricks on you. Like when you first start connecting with spirits, you might think it was a bit weird, and you start talking about dragons and people think you're a bit weird. But the more you do it, the more you realize that there's this physical reality, and then there's all these other spiritual realities, and you start to trust it, and you start to realize that connecting to it gives you a much easier physical life, because the spirits are there. They're your ancestors for all time and space. And if you start to trust that you can connect to them in whatever ways that is, whether it's using these tools, or whether it's just sitting in meditation and listening, because how often do we just stop, completely pause, and just sit in silence? For some people that was too long a silence. They need to have the radio or the television blaring or whatever it is. And I often say that if you can just get yourself into a space of silence, have a strong pause, then maybe you don't need to use these tools. But often you will find that the spirit teams are having trouble getting into your mind because you're blocking them, and sometimes they're shouting you, this is the answer, and you're just not in a space, your frequency is wrong, you're thinking too much about what you need to do, what you did yesterday, and sometimes using a tool just makes it easier for them to connect with you. So I'm not saying you must buy these runes and tarot, but if you're working with spirit and you want to connect more strongly, then I highly recommend them. Does anyone here use the tools, the runes or the tarot or themselves in daily life, that wants to share how they use them? As I say, it's all fairly new to me, so that if any of you have got more of an insight that you'd like to share with everyone, then please do. Did you want to share, Lauren?
Yes, why not? I started working with cards a long time ago, and I only did tarot for a while, but then I found out about oracle cards, and
Yeah.
I prefer the oracle cards, but they are grouped according to theme, so it can be very different. But I use them daily.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes I mix two decks. I pick one or two from each deck, and sometimes they agree, and the message is very strong then, or they connect in some way. So I find the cards very helpful for me. A friend gave me a set of runes because she does rune jewelry. She's very connected to runes. I, for some reason, could not. I think it's the imagery and the colors on the oracle cards that interest me and stimulate my receptivity.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
have you created any yourself? Like, I mean, you're
I
into
have thought
roses.
about it. I have thought about it. I have a book on how to make your own deck. I haven't gotten there though. I'm not proficient artistically to do that. It takes a long time to create images by hand. Um, I don't know enough about producing images on computer. I don't know anything about computer graphics, so that's not open to me either. And I have at one time contacted an artist to see if she would work with me.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out, but there's always that option too, to get one person to do the texts, one person to do the imagery and put them together. So I have hopes that maybe one day I will do my own deck.
Beautiful. I'd love
I'm
to see
very
that.
impressed with what you've done. I like the aluminum piece cards. I think that's very, very clever. But the wooden ones are also quite beautiful.
Yeah. The wood's very tactile, but when like I'll often go up to Dartmoor and I'll sit in a stone circle and the grass will be damp and they don't
Yeah,
particularly enjoy the damp. So the
yeah.
aluminium ones are better.
Oh
Uh,
yes, yes, they're very practical. But yes, tools are helpful. Sometimes I just get downloads, and sometimes I get visual imagery through the cards. It just comes in different ways. Sometimes it's a song on the radio.
yeah. Oh yeah. Our guides and the universe will talk to us in
Have a
many
good
ways.
sense of humor.
Exactly. I mean, I'll often find that as well, that maybe I'll sit with the runes and then I'll get a message and I'll be like, okay, and I contemplate it, and then I'll be on Facebook and something will pop up that will, I'll get that nudge that is connected with that question, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll look in a bit deeper, or somebody will share a book, or there'll be a podcast, or there'll be a YouTube video. So I'm saying use the tools, but I'm also saying don't limit yourself to them. Be open to everything. Don't say I'm only using those tools because that's the only way of connecting with me. You need to be receptive and open to that connection. So yeah, I'm just introducing these as like these are useful to have. It's a bit like having a tool set and only having a hammer. Well, yeah, you need a screwdriver probably as well, and maybe you need some duct tape, and maybe you need some. Yeah, you don't want just one tool. A hammer's not very good at undoing a screw. So same thing. Use lots of different tools. I'm just introducing these to you, so you might go, "Oh, I never heard of these." I certainly hadn't a few years ago. I just thought it was the Mystic Meg type people that you went into a tent and they had a crystal ball and they brought some cards out. That was all I understood. And then obviously bit by bit I've understood them a bit more.
Mystic Meg.
Have you not heard of Mystic Meg?
Yeah, in France
Maybe
it's
she's a British
Madame
thing.
Soleil, Madame the Sun, and she has a crystal ball and she looks into it. Is that what Mystic Meg is like?
That's the British version, Mystic Meg, yeah. But yeah, that whole tent thing with the
Yeah, but
the
that's
veil.
what we were thinking of in the beginning. But when you get into it, you realize that's a preconceived notion, right? That you don't need to go there anymore and go past it. I was telling someone today that dragons are very avant-garde still, and a lot of people are not ready for the energy or the notion, not the energy, but the idea of it.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful with whom I speak about dragons.
Yeah, I think it's the same with anything. Is anything that's slightly mystical, then people have got their opinions of it, and you do have to be careful who you share to. And I always say that this is my opinion, and if you don't agree with it, don't accept it. Don't just Kevin's saying stuff I don't believe in. That's fine. It's what I use. It's what helps me, and that's all these shamanic webinars are about. Is me sharing my opinion, and you can take it or leave it, and it doesn't harm me either way. Yeah. If you don't like it, just be polite. Say I don't believe that. Fine. That's you're a sovereign being, and it's up to you to decide what you want to do. Cool. So I'll just share my screen again. Perfect. I just wanted to, while I've got your attention, to just talk about dragons a little bit more, and just say that there is a summit coming up, and there's going to be 44 speakers talking about dragons, and I know some of them have created some of the oracle decks that I use. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about dragons, then do come along to that. And also each month we have a thing called Dragon Talks, where someone comes along and talks about dragons, and all of those are recorded and they're all available for replay. So if you're not available on the Pacific day, then they're all available on my website, and you can see those. So I just wanted to mention that. And then if you've got any questions about dragons and you would like one of the 44 speakers to answer it, don't be shy. Send it through to me, and I'll send it out to them, and one of them will have the answer. I know for sure, and I'm sure quite a few of them will have the answer. They're amazing people from out the world. We've got people from Australia and Africa, all over Europe, all over the Americas. We haven't got anyone at the moment really from the east, though we do have one lady called Yumiko, I should say, who's from Japan, who is sort of sharing a bit about the East dragons. So most of the people here will be talking about the idea of the dragons in the West, really. And some of them will be talking about spiritual ideas of dragons. Some will be talking a bit more about the sort of physical idea of dragons and dinosaurs and the rest of it. So there's a mixture there. And we're on for 26 hours straight. So we start in Australia, then to the UK, then the USA. So if you're very brave, you'll watch all of it. I doubt anyone will do that. So everything will be on replay. All of the pre-records, 20 people doing pre-records, which I finished yesterday. Woo! And then all the others will be live. Anyway, enough about that. And while I've got your attention, I just wanted to say that I've written 17 books now, a lot of them channeled through the dragons. So you can find those on my website under books, which is the easiest way to find them. And purchasing those obviously helps me keep doing this. Any questions, please do send them through. Any subjects that you would love me to share in the coming months, please let me know. Then I'm sharing what people are interested in hearing rather than boring you with stuff that I think is interesting. So please do contact me and let me know. If you've got any ideas and you want to put them in the comments down, then please do that. So if I had a hammer, Peter and Paul use a hammer. Yeah, yeah. There's many ways to use a hammer. That's true. Yeah, you're very magical. Cool. But yeah, just do share it with me. And if you want to share it with me directly to my email, it's humphrey@icloud.com, or you can go to my website, englishmystic.co.uk or englishmystic.com. You can find me on social media in many places under English Mystic. And then just send me any questions, send me anything that you would love me to share. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share with anyone here? Anyone got any questions? Are you all going to rush out and buy some oracle cards? I'm excited to see Lauren Rose's ones. If you need digital artists, I'm happy to assist. Margaret, did you want to share?
Yes, I wanted to read sort of for your audience, those that don't have some of these oracle cards. Some of the explanations in them are just amazing, and I just wanted to cite a couple that I had. I have Missing's.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, get that one. This one, and also because I'm new to the group, I've got this one too, which is Carolyn Mitchell's oracle cards, and I'm gonna get yours, Kevin, because I'm gonna get Barbara Worsley because she's done some too. And anyway, the thing that was interesting was the first time I used these cards for Carolyn Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking, who is my dragon? Because I'm new to the group and I've only been here about a year, but I absolutely love it because I've always been very fascinated with the thought of riding a dragon. I just thought would be, oh my gosh, that would be so wonderful. So anyway, what I got was this one. Where did the card go? Where did my card go?
It's flown off.
He's flown off somewhere. So if you could come back. Oh well, I'm sure I'll find him probably. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, here he is. Okay, I got this one. If you can see it. Can you see it? Okay, it's called the Soul Guardian. And I'll just read you what it is that she put in here. She said, "This beautiful dragon is your soul guardian and your very own dragon counterpart. The majestic being carries all of you, all your past, your experiences. You are he is you. He knows all there is to know about you and your lives. He knows that which you need to do, that which you need to avoid, that which you need to celebrate. He is the guardian of every incarnation you have experienced as a soul throughout the ages, the good, the bad, and of course the ugly." He says, "As well as your positive side, I also hold your shadow, the part of you that would rather not acknowledge existence. I am the keeper of all memories. As you pass through each lifetime, your human body and mind have a need to protect themselves when you experience pain or trauma, whether from birth, life, or death. A small piece of your soul then also retreats to protect itself. I am the guardian of your soul, the expression of the whole and complete you. If your soul guardian dragon has arrived in your cards today, he is telling you that the time has come to begin to piece your soul back together, to recall all the missing pieces so that you can complete the amazing picture and reveal yourself in all of your magnificence as a living being. He tells us, all you need to do is ask, and I will guide your way. You are a spiritual warrior, but you must learn to listen to your inner guidance. I will always be beside you as you follow your path." So that just kind of gives you a sampling of her cards, which are great. And these cards I found, up here. I found were really interesting because you hold the cards in your hand and you set an intention first before you ask your question. Mm-hmm. And you only pull one card. It's not like you do, in some of them, they'll do your future life or your past life, and you have, 3 or 4 cards that you have to set out your past, present, and future, that kind of thing. But you don't really with these ones. These ones, you just set your intention and pick a card. And what I got was and I can't find that card. Hold on, just a sec.
That's right.
I'm not very organized. Anyway, I'll just tell you this one. This one was the Guardian 2. I don't know where my, oh, no, wrong one. Yeah. Well, I must have put them back. Anyway, I'll just read you what it says. It's the Guardian card, and it says, the Guardian wishes to tell you that you are protected and you are never alone. The reason I'm trying to think why I was asking this, what my intention was at the time. It was, I can't remember. Sort of, where am I going on my life's path with the dragons? Like, what can I know about, like, for the future or whatever? And it says the Guardian wishes to tell you that you are protected and that you are never alone. This dragon has come to assist you into a shift in your life that is now begun. The shift was necessary, and you are divinely blessed to have assistance. The Guardian only appears during life-changing and transformational times in your life. He asks that you surrender and trust the process. It was agreed before your birth that this moment in time would be the right one for your transformation. The Guardian signifies the north and south nodes. The south node, key 2, represents experiences we begin with us from previous lifetimes into this one. All lessons, gifts, and qualities already mastered. The north node, Rahu, denotes shifting into the purpose of this lifetime. Sometimes these lessons are triggered by challenging experience that align us to our true purpose. So I was actually blown away by both of them, that well, first of all, I got the Guardian for both of them, which I thought was really interesting. But I found that they were, the messages that they gave me were really true for what was going on with me at that time. So I just think these cards are absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad to know about them. So thank you very much.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and that's a perfect example of how to use them. You don't have to use them every day for every decision in your life, but when you're at that point where you're not quite sure, you want a bit more of an insight, that they're powerful. And a lot of what's been written, I know I've spoken to the lady that created those cards. She said that literally the dragons came in and told her what to draw. She said she wasn't an artist, and like, I can't draw, and they basically helped her draw each of them, which is amazing. And then they downloaded the information. She said it took over sort of 3 or 4 months of her life. She actually shared the whole story in the Galactic Thunder last year, and that's available. So you can go to my website and you'll find that, and it's all free. There's all the recordings are there. So she shared the whole story, and when I first heard it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And she said that all the dragons tried to come in at once, and a human was like, nah, it's too much. And so she sort of sat with them and said, can you please like come in one at a time and give me a bit of a chance to actually draw what you're telling me and to write it down. She said, yeah, she went into this like bubble where for 3 or 4 months all she did was sort of like draw and write what they told her. And then she was like, I've no idea how to get these cards into the world, and she's done that and sells them. They're huge cards as well. They're beautiful. Most cards are sort of like very small, but they're big set of cards. I love them.
Who's the author?
It's Gayatri Singh, isn't it? Yeah, Gayatri Singh. I'll share her links.
Okay.
If you go to dragonthunder.info, then you'll see her last year. She's also on this year's Thunder, which is galacticdragonthunder.com. You'll see her, and all the links are there to get them off her. So yeah, you buy the cards directly from the manufacturer basically. So she sent them across there, and they get shipped out. But yeah, they're beautiful cards. Margaret, thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful.
You're welcome. If I could just share one other thing too. She apparently she says she puts an intention, I guess. No, an activation. Sorry. She activates all her cards personally from herself first before she sends them to you.
All
So
right.
they're, yes. Okay,
Thank you. Yeah.
you're welcome.
Gorgeous. Well, as you can see there, we've opened a little door for you to look at runes or tarot or whatever, whichever one calls you. Wisdom cards, oracle cards. Ah, yeah, you've got the dragon ones as well. Barbara's got some. I think everyone's got that set. Those are probably the most popular set. Did you want to share something about those?
Probably have too many. And I was looking
No,
for
you
another
can't. You
favorite
can't. It's
set.
impossible. It's like crystals. There's no limit.
And yeah, I love Call It Baron Reed and Alberto Volodo. I've got that, The Shaman's Dream, that one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And another, no, that's not, that's the Mystical Shaman.
Oh,
This is The Shaman's Dream,
right.
again by those two. Sorry.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
it.
another one that she did recently, well, about a year ago, called the Dream Weavers deck. And I can't, that's the one I can't put my hands on. And just speaking of the process and how she didn't, Call It Baron Reed partnered with another, a Japanese artist, somehow just intuitively came together. And so they collaborated on that one, and he did the artwork, and the artwork is phenomenal. So these are all, you know, I know AI's come along and it helps us create sort of dreamlike, but I love the ones that are that the artists themselves, because you know that's channeled, like they feel that. And another one who did that is called Mary Egan, and she's
Hmm.
from England. Have you heard her name?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I've not seen the
But
cards though.
she came to, you know, it wasn't ever any kind of an intention. She's sort of a quantum energetic healer. And it was that love of the healing. And of course, she's a painter and she started doing these paintings. So her cards, that again, they're quite large, but these are all, you know, these are just a couple that I happen to have pulled.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're all, sorry. So it may just be colors and certain bursts, and then she's put them into the cards. And I think she set the first deck up, and then of course got the call to do another one. And she said, "I'm never doing another one." She's got it, so she's in the process of doing a third set because, but she taps into the vibrational frequency, so it ties in with an actual number, a frequency number
Yeah.
that goes along with the message, and then she teaches that we tap that frequency into ourselves. We carry that number around with us, and it's all not all. It's tied to the client's intention, the client's concern. What is your concern? Whether you know a physical issue, and anyway,
Mm.
or whatever. And I just wanted to share that one with you. She's not all that well known. I don't think she's hasn't been doing this very long, um, and a lot of these, I guess, come from the you know, if they're genuine artists and they're just starting to get that message out there. It's not like they have some big company. Well,
Yeah.
as call it Baron Reed. Well, she's become much more popular. I mean, she's well known, so she gets promoted by Hay House and all the rest of it. So some of them do get moved out. But the Dream Weavers deck was, I just was, she did a promotion on it, or an initial kickoff, and it was just interesting because the discussion between her and the artist, and she showed the process of how the artist came up with. And what I like about some of those is you don't even have to read the message,
Hmm.
or I try to not even look at the message. I might follow it up. And when, you know, I just did this with a few girlfriends this last weekend, and they didn't really, I don't know that the intention was there. You know, the dragon, or this deck didn't really land with this one lady anyway. And so I just pulled out this other one, just the Dreamweavers, and just I focused on the artwork and asked them to see or interpret whatever it is that came out through the artwork before we touched on the book. And you know, that was just interesting to get them engaged or get them thinking a little more deeply. Um, so
That's
whether it
beautiful.
whether it works or not, I'd find it's helpful
tool for me.
Yeah.
Just gives me a little more support, not trusting your own intuition, and or as a beginner's way to lead in. And also there, a couple of girlfriends, hey, let's pull a card, and not necessarily get into all the intricacies and the what I may believe or feel about energetic healing, or just the cosmos and how these energies come through. And it's a fun way to bring that to people without having to convert them to dragon toothsayers. And
Yeah, it's true. You don't have to go too deep, do you? It's a good way of sort of getting people interested, and it's like you say, it's a physical thing that someone can hold, and that often sort of assists them. I think that's what Gayatri Singh said. She said, when you pull the card, don't read the booklet. She said that's the first thing. Don't read the booklet. I remember her saying that. She said actually her dragons told her not to create a booklet, but she was like, well, I folded or whatever to the general consensus that you must have a booklet. Yeah, she said they said don't even create one, but I felt I needed to. But yeah, she said the same thing. Just connect to it and look at the image. And certainly that's the runes that came through, that they gave a rune and they gave an image, and they said get people to look at both and go on a journey, and not necessarily be in the mind, be connected to your soul, your heart, the universe, rather than it being a mind game of, oh yeah, this must mean this, there must mean that. To be more intuitive. Thank you for sharing, Barbara. Cool.
It's nice to look at.
It is.
Like, how does that make me feel? What do I feel like doing? Oh, there's a bird flying through from spring to winter, or whatever, flying over the chasm of, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And because you're looking at it, your mind will say different things, and if you read the words, you might go, oh, I don't trust that. That doesn't sound right. The fact that you just believe yourself, and that's what I've always been told, is trust yourself. Be a sovereign being. Don't give away your power to anything, whether it's cards or someone else. Beautiful. Well,
Actually, she's from Ireland. Marianne,
Ireland. All right.
Egan in Ireland.
Egan. Okay, I'll find her out and attach her to all the notes.
Marianne, Maria. Anyway, I can type it in, and it's Heart Art Magic. I don't know if that's an actual name of her company, but anyway, interesting. Just came across her through actually one of your presenters. I think Sandra Pelly. That's who I think I got. You, the Dragon Thunder.
Yeah, there's lots of amazing people out there sharing lots of beautiful stuff, and more like, I need to somehow pull all this together so people can come in and type in a search, and then they're like, oh, go and speak to Sandra, go and speak to so and so. But yeah, that's all coming. Okay, we've got that. Beautiful. So what I'll do is I'll share all this in the show notes. Sounds very posh, doesn't it? and on the blog and all the rest of it. It's beautiful to see you all. I say we've gone over the hour, so I said I'd try and keep it to the hour. And I will see you all next time. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your days, mornings, afternoons, evenings, wherever you are in the world. The blessings to you, and thank you, Barbara, Margaret, and Lauren Rose, for sharing. It's beautiful to hear other people's shares. Thank you very much. I'll see you all soon. One day you go. Bye.